We're going to review the activities that were carried on here the month of December, which just amazed me as I read them. Our activities director is just outstanding. Wow, here we are already in December. I hope you all are in the holiday spirit and are ready for the activities set for this month. We start off the season with the Oasis singers performing for us on Tuesday, December 2nd at 10:30. And that has gone by. On Friday, December 5th at 10 a.m., we'll be going holiday shopping and stopping to have lunch. Resident's choice. On Wednesday, December 10th at 2:30, the Baritones have scheduled a performance in the chapel. On Friday, December the 12th at 2 p.m., we will be celebrating our December birthdays. If you have a birthday, please come down at 1:30 p.m. for group and individual pictures. Everyone is invited to come and celebrate and enjoy some cake and ice cream. That's this coming Friday. On Tuesday, December 15th and 16th at 4:30 p.m., we will be having a Christmas cruise. Sign up to take a bus tour around the neighborhoods to see all the beautiful homes that have Christmas lights and decorations. Now, to my understanding, we've never done that before, so that's a wonderful opportunity. That will be on next Tuesday on December 15th, and then on the 16th, Wednesday, sign up if you want to go on that cruise. On Friday, December 19th at 2 p.m., we will have a Christmas program featuring Easy Street in the chapel. And that evening, we will have a Luminaria walk in the garden. Now, today you received a door drop that explained what the Luminarios are and how you can sign up to purchase one, or you can just enjoy going on the walk that night. If I'm reading anything that is of specific interest to you and you would like to know more about it, be sure after we complete this, we'll look it up together and write a little note so that you can remember what day certain things are. On December the 24th, I'll back up a little bit because we have Don Stevenson who will be performing in the chapel on Monday, December 22nd at 2 o'clock. And I do not know what kind of a performance that is. I assume it's piano and possibly singing. And then Christmas Eve at 2 o'clock p.m., our beautiful resident, Janelia Bainig, will be performing a Christmas program, and we will have Christmas cookies and punch available. On this day also, we will have our resident Christmas party at 5 o'clock p.m. in the dining room and the chapel. So that we'll all attend. Finally, on December 31st at 1 o'clock p.m., we will have an early New Year's Eve party in the dining room and the chapel. And with that, we've reached the end of 2025, and we hope that when we do, you've had a fantastic year and are ready to bring in 2026 with peace, love, and happiness. May your days be blessed and your evenings shine with the stars. That's presented by Christine Suppes, our Activities Director.
Our beautiful remodeled wellness center is ready for our wonderful members to come on in and enjoy. We want to show off our fresh new space with a wellness party. On Monday, December 29th, we will host our open house wellness party from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our wellness cardio room will be open to all people to see and ask any questions they may have on equipment or on our program. We will have some light refreshments and have several sample classes throughout the day. So if you have never tried any of our classes, this will be a great opportunity to see what they are all about. If you have never been part of our wellness program, or if it's been a long time since you have, this is the perfect time to join. Wellness party class schedule, 11 a.m. to 11:20 a.m. Tai Chi Quan. 1 o'clock p.m. to 1:20 p.m. cardio dance. 2 o'clock to 2:20 p.m. cardio drumming. And that was written by Crystal Lopez, Wellness Director. Now is more important than ever to contribute to the Roadrunner Food Bank. If you watch the news lately, you know that many New Mexicans are food challenged this year, and how much Roadrunner Food Bank needs contributions. A donation box for Roadrunner Food Bank is always located outside apartment 319. Please feel free to bring donations at any time and place them in the box. When the box is full, the items are delivered to the food bank. All types of non-perishable foods, especially protein foods, are needed. Financial contributions are also very welcome, as the food bank can purchase food items at reduced prices. It is best to put any cash in an envelope and leave it on the clip outside apartment 319, not in the box. Note, if it is too far for you to walk to apartment 319, call me, Jan to Courtney, at 505-810-1136, and I'll come and pick up your donation at your apartment. Last year, 2024, in the box, Manzano residents donated 146 pounds of food and $10 in cash. We have almost double that amount and have donated 278 pounds of food. Let's see what we can do in December to help our neighbors that are in need. Thank you all for your generous contributions.
Cold, Flu, and COVID Season. Written by Vanessa Jackson, our clinic nurse. With the construction finished, holidays approaching, I would like to remind everyone that cold, flu, and COVID season is upon us. Please be mindful of those around you. If you're not feeling well, consider avoiding large gatherings or sharing meals with others. If you're experiencing cold-like symptoms, such as tiredness, runny nose, cough, etc., be sure to test for COVID before joining in festivities. As a reminder, I do not have COVID tests in the clinic. It's good to have a couple on hand just in case. If you do test positive, we suggest that you remain in your apartment for 5 days and are symptom-free for 24 hours in order to prevent exposure to others. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to visit me at the clinic. And an unknown contributor sent this little quip, like fine wine, some things get better with age. If this is so, I'm approaching magnificent. Jesus is better than Santa Claus. This is an article that I had remembered from seeing in the past from our newspaper reporter who lived here for such a long time, and I thought it worth putting in again. Santa lives at the North Pole. Jesus is everywhere. Santa rides in a sleigh. Jesus rides on the wind and walks on water. Santa comes but once a year. Jesus is an ever-present help. Santa comes down and our chimney uninvited. Jesus stands at your door and knocks. Santa makes you stand in line to see him. Jesus is as close as the mention of his name. Santa lets you sit on his lap. Jesus lets you rest in his arms. Santa asks, little boy, little girl, what is your name? Jesus knew our names before we did. Santa has a belly like a bowl full of jelly. Jesus has a heart full of love. Santa offers ho, 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 and Jesus offers health, help, and hope. Santa says, you better not cry. Jesus says, cast all your cares on me, for I care for you. Santa's little helpers make toys. Jesus makes new lives, mends hearts, and repairs broken homes. Santa makes you chuckle, and Jesus gives you joy. Santa puts gifts under your tree. Jesus became our gift and died on the tree. There's really no comparison. Jesus is the reason for the season.
Las Posadas de Santa Fe. When I lived in Santa Fe during the 1970s and 1980s, on Christmas Eve, there was a cold winter enactment, of Los Posados de Santa Fe. On a dirt street off Aquia Madre, were lit luminarios. True luminarios are square piles of cross-hatched, rough saplings and fires lit in the center to represent creating warmth and light for Mary and Joseph to travel down the street to the inn. One man, dressed as Joseph in a Mexican brightly striped poncho, would walk down the street with Mary, pregnant, riding a donkey beside him. While I was there, Joseph was enacted by a well-to-do psychiatrist named Darrell. They would travel slowly down the street by the light of the farolitos, brown bags with candles set in sand, which are here called luminarios. When they arrived at the inn, they looked in the stable for straw where Mary could lay down. Before long, under the stars of Bethlehem, Jesus was born, and the three wise men were on their way. The wise men recognized Jesus as the Son of God, come to take away the sins of the world. All who believed in him are blessed by God. Mm-hmm. And that was written by Mary Gruby. The festivals of lights Hanukkah will begin at Sunday on December 14th and then on December 26th. And that was submitted by Reverend Rachel Hans. Albuquerque Zoo. On Friday, October 17, Manzano del Sol residents were treated to a special outing. We spent a beautiful fall day walking around at the Albuquerque Zoo. Many animals and birds were out enjoying the sunshine. For those of us having difficulty standing on 2 feet, it was marvelous to see how the flamingos could so easily position themselves on one leg for extended periods of time. What a wonderful day. Written by Helen Lucero. Allergie de Noel. And this writing is in the form of a Christmas tree. Fat, piney, pungent, evergreen trees add a zesty perfume to our Yuletide holiday and bring cheer to every nose but those susceptible to coniferous allergens. Joy, joy, kerchoo! Andrea Carey Schaefer, Good Housekeeping, December 1972. Submitted by Diane Holly. Making a gingerbread castle. Perhaps others of you have done this as children. First, my mother baked large, flat slabs of gingerbread. When these were cool, then came the challenge of arranging them to stay upright in a castle shape. Plenitude of icing were employed to do this and allowed to dry in the basic shape of the structure. When the basic shape was sturdy enough, then came the time to decorate with many kinds of confetti, stripes, sprinkles, and more icing. Window panes, doors, and various symbols of the castle brought it to life. All that were invisible so far were the elves who inhabited the inner rooms. They were busy making packed lunches for the reindeer who were chafing at the bit to get on with the night. By midnight, we were tired enough to retire to the little beds on the second floor to rest for the arrival of Santa down the chimney. The beds were comfy, but we too were looking forward to the arrival of Santa and cleaning out the chimney to have things copacetic for his generous fame to fit down the chimney without a lot of soot. When that was done, we could sit back and see the creation in place. And that was written by Mary Gruby. A Christmas Secret. It was the most wonderful season of all, with angels on treetops and trips to the mall, tinsel and ribbon wrapped around festive holly. Even the grumpiest ones seemed to be jolly. Cookies and cakes pour out of the oven to celebrate a spirit of kindness and loving. Chocolates and eggnog and gifts under the tree. What a wonderful season for you and me. But the stockings are now packed. There's no wreath on the drawer. The candles are snuffed, and the eggnog's no more. So what? Why must it be as much on the last chip? Must you throw out this season along with the dip? We need not stop shop sharing or giving. That's right. We still have all year to keep things right, so keep your warm glow in your heart, and you have found the secret of Christmas is to love the year round. Submitted by Nancy Burns.
All right. A murder of crows near Manzano del Sol. Sounds scary, right? But it's written by Judith Liddell, and we know she's the bird lady.
Oh, okay.
During the summer, crows disperse and find nesting and feeding areas, mostly in the mountains. By the end of October, they begin funneling into Albuquerque, where they roost communally in locations in the bosque, forming a, quote, murder or group of crows. That's interesting that that word would be used in that way. Most species have group names. For instance, a group of hippos is called a bloat, and a group of flamingos is called a flamingos. Flamboyance, excuse me, I murdered that one. The internet says, quote, a murder of crows may have originated in superstition and folklore, first formalized in 15th century England in the Book of St. Albans, published in 1486, and more recently in James Lipton's book, An Exaltation of Larks, which he published in 1968 and again in 1991. During the day, the crows fly out of the bosque in a long parade and then disperse and locate a spot where they're likely to find food, often in or near a shopping center. While there are no food scraps around our facility, they can be found along San Mateo or Lomas, often across from sprouts, in small groups of 2 or 3. Between periods of foraging, they can be seen perched on power poles. About 10 years ago, when several stores on the west side of Coronado Mall were being remodeled, a, quote, murder of crows roosted in the trees in the west parking lot. On a couple of occasions, I drove to the mall at dusk to watch the spectacle as they arrived for the night. The crows began to funnel into staging areas in the vicinity of Manal and Louisiana, picking different areas to gather each night. One afternoon, they might forage in a vacant lot near a restaurant in the vicinity of Pennsylvania and Manal. Another evening, they might be found in a Winrock parking area along Uptown Boulevard and west of Louisiana, or on the rooftops near Staples on San Pedro. One evening, I saw them gathering in the trees in the median along Manal between San Pedro and Louisiana. Before dark arrived, they started leaving the staging area and began settling into the trees at Coronado Mall in what might be called mega murders of crows. One evening, I parked near the roosting spot and lowered my window to listen to the gathering corvids. In the earliest arrivals, secured the prime underbranches, and their calls seemed to dare each other to displace them. Late arrivals complained as they jockeyed into place lower in the tree, and probably hoping that the upper crows would not leave white spots on their feathers during the night. Communal roosts provide a number of benefits during the cold winter season. Crowding a large group of birds into one tree provides more warmth than perching independently. Since crows do not have good night vision, there's more protection from nocturnal predators, e.g. great horned owls, and some also speculated that the cawing chatter as they arrive is also an exchange of information about food sources, and as winter progresses, the opportunity to find a mate for the upcoming nesting season. I hope you have the opportunity to observe the crows near Manzano. And again, that was by Judith Liddell. It's fun. It's fun to watch them from your window. We're up on the 6th floor, and you can hear them talking, cheeping to each other as it gets darker and darker. And the darker it gets, the more then they come in and start nesting in the trees. And at that point, there were still leaves on the trees. You know, now I don't know if they're coming in because the trees are very bare.
3rd floor welcomes Karen Reagan. And this was written by Karen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Karen Reagan, and I'm not related to the former president. I'm originally from New York, where I grew up and went to school. I moved to Albuquerque in 1969 during hippie days, big marches and change. I came out west because, one, I only had a taste of seeing it and wanted more. And two, I developed an interest in our indigenous people and also wanted to know more. I thought I'd become a teacher on the res, but that was not meant to be. I did earn my elementary teaching certificate and subbed for about a year. The classroom settled with the little kids didn't suit me, though I did manage to teach 1 full year of kindergarten at a school in the South Valley. Not a great year for me. At the end of that year, I rewarded myself with a trip to China with some other teachers, and that was great. I had other jobs along the way, though, and my favorite was teaching creative writing to adults through UNM's continuing education program. It was rewarding and kept me going for quite some time. There's nothing I kept copies of the writing from those classes and only recently was able to part from them. Some of the interests I've pursued here include hiking with the mountain club, folk dancing with a group here in town, and gardening. As you may know, Southwest gardening is a thing unto itself. The soil can be difficult and need lots of amendments, such as compost and more. Some of it is clay. Keeping the water ratio is a challenge, as is our hot sun. It can be done, but with effort. One of the best things I've done was to walk on the Camino de Saint-Jacques in France. That was in 2016. I went alone, but it was easy to join up with other hikers, which I did. We walked about 10 miles. We walked about 10 miles each day. I walked for 8 days, all in France. Our main language was French, and as you can imagine, one of the goals of the Camino is to reach the Cathedral of St. Jacques on the western point of Spain. This was the object of the earliest pilgrims, who were sometimes commanded to walk the entire way, about 500 miles. As penance. I went partly because a friend inspired me to go, partly because it seemed a neat thing to do, and partly because it seemed a neat, and I never regretted it, though my feet did ache and I lost weight. I also made friends and got to speak French with natives and saw some beautiful scenery with lots of cows. I encourage you to go if you have an inclination in that way. Why I chose MDS to move to, my ties go back to the time I led an exercise class here at Manzano and volunteered with the activities in the healthcare ring. Also, it's in my neighborhood. I lived on Girard for nearly 50 years, and my church is nearby. I'm Happy Here, room 337, written by Karen Reagan and submitted by Bernice Richards. Everyone in the gift shop wishes you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. Recycle, reuse, and repurpose for a better earth. God bless. Written by Debbie Harrington, gift shop manager.
Well, and it brings us to our December birthdays. Some of which, of course, we've passed. Stephanie Deutsch's birthday was the first, and Betty Griffiths on second floor had a birthday tomorrow on the 5th. Helen Anderson, dear Helen, her birthday is also on the 5th, and that must be that Helen is going to be about 102, I think. Patricia Hill is having a birthday, and I don't know how she pronounces her last name. It looks like Sabaj, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check with her. That's on the 10th. Marie Carmen, John Hinton, lots of new names. Phyllis Loretta, who is our tortoise lady. Irene Ricker, a wonderful artist. And by the way, she's been gone quite a while to the hospital. She's back for a little while in across the garden. Mildred Langston, Lois Gobble, Ann Olson, his birthday on the 24th of December, and so is Valerie Dalton's the 24th of December. And then finishing the year will be Sylvia Stite, and she's on the 6th floor, and you will see her if you can catch her. She walks about 6 times a day on all the floors, and she goes fast. Plus, she is a wicked player of word games. Happy anniversary to Thomas and Sandra McCullum, whose anniversary will be celebrated on the 6th, and to our very own Norman and Dorothy Ribble, who are going to be celebrating their 70th, I believe that is, their 70th anniversary, folks, on the 23rd of December. And Bob and Nancy Agnew on the 30th of December. So happy anniversary. Welcome new residents. Judith Katz is our new resident on 5. If you're on the 5th floor, be sure and you see an unfamiliar face, introduce yourself. On the Wednesday night services have pastors meeting on every single Wednesday night at 6:30. We'll be having a service, and Rachel is going to be doing a service on the 31st of December on New Year's Eve, and she'll be serving communion. Catholic services will be on the 1st and 3rd Monday at 10 o'clock, and every 2nd and 4th Monday at 10 o'clock. And they will be meeting on the 2nd and 4th to say a group rosary. The Catholic Mass and Confession. All Catholic residents are invited to attend Mass on Monday, December the 1st. We passed that. And that was, the celebrant was Father De Palma of Our Lady of Fatima. And he was available also to hear Mass. I don't think we've had that opportunity, have you?
Confession.
Mary Grace, to have confession?
We had ours on Monday.
I see. So that's all over. Then there's a book swap, which Vanessa is telling us about. Are you an avid reader with too many books on your hands? Would you be interested in having a book swap? Everybody can bring up about 5 books. All genres are welcome. And then we can look for a new book to you. and books to enjoy just in time for the new year if you're interested. And if you are, please sign up in the nurse's clinic, and we'll set a time and a place to hold our book swap in January. I promised Rod that we would save his article for when he came back, and he hasn't come back from seeing his eye doctor. So we'll press on here. This is an article written by Rod Bainig, A Brief History of Christmas. Have you ever wondered how the birth date of a Hebrew teacher from the Middle East, about whom little is known and who preached for only 3 years, came to be celebrated on December 25th? How did the celebration of his birth seem to have evolved into a North Central European winter holiday with Christmas fir trees, mistletoe, pagan songs and customs, and eventually into Santa Claus, reindeer-pulled sleighs, and Rudolph? It's a long story, but here's a summary. In ancient Rome, December 25th was a date that celebrated a popular Roman god. However, the Roman Church was intent on converting the rest of the known world to Christianity and to make its acceptance palatable to the Northern European Germanic tribes, who actually had a celebration of their own, the winter solstice. The Church opted the solstice celebration and combined some of its beliefs with those of the Church. Since the solstice celebration included the Tannenbaum, or fir tree, the Christmas tree became a part of Christianity. And December 25th, at the time of the winter solstice, became the birth date of Jesus. The lasting impact of the Germanic celebration on the Christmas celebration can be observed in songs still associated with Christmas today. O Tannenbaum, O Christmas tree, and Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, Silent Night, Holy Night. And later American hymns were written, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, and O Little Town of Bethlehem. As for bell ringing, there are tales of the origin of bell ringing and religious ceremonies. One is that pagans used them to scare away evil spirits. The first attempt at converting the pagans, unquote, occurred around 300 AD, but it took many years to become acceptable. Aiding the efforts of the Church were the far-flung conquests of the Roman Empire. Although the western part of the Roman Empire ended around 476 AD, the eastern part of the Church lasted for another 1,000 years, and the spread of Christianity was aided by the breakaway Eastern Orthodox Church, which still exists. As this celebration moved further into Europe, it encompassed many national customs, notably Kris Kringle and the gift-giving of the Dutch. However, the quantum leap in the, quote, Christmas celebration, unquote, came in 1800s when the German Prince Albert married Queen Victoria of Great Britain. He is credited with introducing the Christmas tree and other Christmas customs to Windsor Castle. During the 1800s, Great Britain was a worldwide power. Not only goods were imported and exported, but so was British culture, and the celebration of Christmas became worldwide. Additionally, there was great personal wealth in Great Britain. So horse-drawn sleighs dashing through the snow, wassailing, drinking parties, bells, etc., also became part of the Christmas celebration. Britain also produced many literary personnel who contribute to the modern story of Christmas, and from them came such well-known poems as A Visit from St. Nicholas, which brought in Santa's sleigh and reindeer, and Christmas Carol, which was about Scrooge. And not to be outdone, folks in the United States produced such works as Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus, the Macy's First Christmas Parade, Rudolph, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It took less than 2,000 years, but the setting moved from Bethlehem to Whoville. The shepherds became Santa's elves. The sheep became reindeer. The guiding star became an ornament on top of an artificial Christmas tree. And to much of the world, the birth of Jesus became just another holiday. And that was written by Rod, and that's really very sad, because to many, many people, it's not just another holiday, it is the birthday of our Savior. But it's interesting, Dottie will read what they did this year. My goodness, it was just a year packed full of activities.
Recap. Our 4th of July barbecue was such a big hit. The fabulous food in the garden made it a special afternoon. The ladies painted rocks and bundled lavender for arts and crafts. We finally found a permanent day for bingo every Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. with a new bingo collar on the big screen. We started our new low vision support group. We had root beer floats in the garden and joined up with the wellness center to take you to Madrid. This trip was so successful that we had to plan a second trip to let others enjoy this beautiful small town. August came and we started the month with a wonderful sing-along with the talented and beautiful Janelia Baining. The Oasis singers and the mighty Paladero singers were all here to perform for us. Activities joined up with the Wellness Center to introduce senior brain games. If you haven't stopped in to participate, this is a great opportunity to enjoy spending time together and exercise our brains. September came and we had a spectacular carnival. We couldn't have asked for a better weather. The fun games, friendly faces of all you, and the great foods made it a day to remember. Our arts and crafts had such a big turnout. We spent a day at the zoo, went shopping, and ended our month with pumpkin painting in the garden. November started with a Saturday morning trip to the local arts and crafts shows and an outing with the Wellness Center at the Albuquerque Museum. Season ticket holders went to the New Mexico Philharmonic concert. We held our Christmas holiday bazaar. A group of us bought tickets to see The Sound of Music, featuring Rachel Hance, our new chaplain. We finished the month of November with a great Thanksgiving luncheon, and there are many pictures in there.
That is wonderful. Imagine what a busy, busy, busy time, and if you did some of those activities, you'll remember them well. Now, this is written by, we had an article by Don Burns' wife, and now here is one by him entitled The Tin Can Navy. After graduating from high school, my identical twin brother, Ron, joined the Navy. We had never been separated, and I spent a horrible night thinking about him. The next day, I told my mom I was going to enlist, and I went to the recruiter's office. When he saw me, he said that he had the paperwork ready for me, And when I questioned him about it, he said that most of the time, when one twin enlisted, generally the other twin would follow. Soon after enlisting at the ripe old age of 17, I was flown to San Diego, where I was housed on the second floor of the barracks. One of the guys came running up to me and said, "There was a guy downstairs who looked just like me." I went to the area and found Ron bent over the sink washing clothes. I tapped him on the shoulder and asked, "Got a light?" Ron turned around and said, "What are you doing here?" Ron and I completed boot camp in San Diego. Afterwards, Ron was sent to Seattle and I was sent to Great Lakes, Illinois for training. After that, I was sent to Newport, Rhode Island and was assigned to the USS Harwood. Soon afterwards, the ship set sail to Europe, and our ship's mission was anti-submarine warfare. Our group consisted of one aircraft carrier, one submarine, and 3 destroyers. My assignment was to be the engineer of the motor whaleboat, as it was called. Each time an aircraft took off, the motor whaleboat was swung out over the open water, and one destroyer would be directly behind the aircraft carrier. The additional 2 destroyers were placed on either side of the aircraft carrier. If a plane crashed into the water, the motor whaleboats were lowered into the water and we would attempt to save the pilot. Over a 2-year period, our motor whaleboats saved the lives of 2 pilots. We then cruised to the coast of Turkey, where I was faced with my first Thanksgiving away from home. How ironic. We were in a severe storm which caused the ship to bounce around like a tin can, causing the problem with my Thanksgiving dinner. I was forced to hold my tray against my chest with one hand as I watched my cranberries run over the dressing and into my mashed potatoes and gravy, and then the cranberries returned to their original location on the tray. I then learned why the destroyer fleet was referred to as the Tin Can Navy. Our next port was Athens. Greece was where we were on patrol as part of the 6th Fleet. For 3 months we cruised, sailing to the Greek islands where we went ashore. And in Athens we came upon a vendor with a cart using charcoal, and he was cooking kebabs, which looked good. The vendor could not speak English and we could not speak Greek. One of the sailors pointed to the meat. The vendor moved his hand in a pattern that suggested that the meat was fish. We ate the meat, which was very tasty. The next day we were allowed to return to town, and we spotted the man with the cart and decided to have another fish kebab. A Greek customer just ahead of us acknowledged that he could speak English. We asked him to learn what kind of fish that was that he was cooking. He started laughing and said, "That was not fish, but a delicious kind of snake." We left, and it was many years before I could eat another kebab. When cruising the Mediterranean, we dropped anchor in Spain, France, Italy, and Gibraltar. While in Naples, Italy, I purchased a mandolin from a vendor who handmade them. It was a very attractive instrument, as it was made of woods that are 2 different colors. A shipmate knew how to play and was going to teach me. While in a nighttime storm the ship was rolling from side to side, my beautiful mandolin fell to the steel deck and shattered into 100 pieces. That was the end of my music career. The ship returned to Newport, Rhode Island for the Christmas holidays, where I spent my first Christmas away from home. while the ship was circling around the anchor. After the first of the year, our destroyer division was assigned to a training mission which took us to Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Chile. This was my first of 3 trips through the Panama Canal and my first of 4 trips across the equator. Our assignment was to train the South American Navy in the skills of anti-submarine warfare. There are 3 destroyers and a submarine in our squadron. In each country, we were joined by one of their destroyers, which were all old ships that had been donated by the United States. And each country, there was a crew exchange of about 40 sailors, which allowed the American Navy to teach and observe these war exercises. It was fun sharing meals with the sailors from the South American Navy. I had a few mystery meals that were tasty but of unknown origin. Approximately 2 weeks into the cruise, we were experiencing a powerful Atlantic storm. A young sailor was washed overboard on one of our sister ships and was lost at sea. The cruise was dedicated to his memory. After leaving South America, our destroyer division sailed into Havana, Cuba. Approximately 1 hour after a small group of us were seated in a bar where gunshots and explosions were heard all around us. Looking outside, we saw a tank shooting at a building and a lot of Cuban soldiers firing rifles. The short patrol pulled up in a van and took us to the ship immediately. After returning to the ship, all hatches were secured and no one was allowed on the deck. We remained tied to the pier for 3 days. We learned that the revolutionary by the name of Fidel Castro had taken over the city. Our destroyer division returned to the United States. My brother Ron and I had been in the Navy a little over a year when the chaplain from his ship announced to the crew that he was being transferred to a destroyer on the East Coast. Guess what? He was being transferred to the Harwood, my ship. Ron told him that the Harwood was the ship that his brother was serving on. The chaplain asked why we weren't serving together. 6 weeks after the chaplain learned this, he was instrumental in helping Ron transfer to the Harwood, and we served on 3 different destroyers together. The 2 of us created a fair amount of confusion on each ship. Ron and I sailed both coasts of South America and West Indies and many Mediterranean ports. It was a great experience for both of us. I would highly advise any young person who's looking for a career and an opportunity to see the world to explore joining the Navy. I feel extremely honored and proud to have had the opportunity to serve my country. And again, that was written by Don Burns. Carolyn Brislin's inserted a little joke, and the title's A Smart Boy. And it says, a clever 7-year-old boy took a spelling test. One word was but, B-U-T. In the margin, he wrote, just so you know, there's another word, but, and he drew a little picture.
Wellness outing. Our wellness outing is going to be our festive Christmas lights tour on Tuesday, December 15th and 16th with Christine. Part of wellness is embracing our inner child and enjoying the small things like seeing the magic of the season. Wellness seminar. Our December wellness seminar will be all about music. we will discover how music supports our emotional well-being and physical health, especially as we age. We'll talk about how music can lift our mood, reduce stress, help with memory, and even support healthier movement and better sleep. You might be surprised at just how many benefits something as simple and enjoyable as music can offer. Cancel classes for December. Monday, December 1st, Taji Kwan. Tuesday the 2nd, water aerobics. Thursday the 4th, water aerobics. Wednesday the 10th, chair volleyball. Wednesday the 24th, chair volleyball. Thursday the 25th, all fitness classes. And Wednesday the 31st, chair volleyball. And that was written by Crystal Lopez, Wellness Director. And that is the end.
And thank you for reading and helping us out when
thank you.
Rod could not be here. Glad all of you were here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming, yes.
That'll be wonderful.
That is.
You'll love Trudy, she's quite a gal.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, because that isn't, there's no mention made of it at all on the calendar for various organizations and committee meetings.
Well, this is the November.
December.
Yeah, these are all the things in December, yeah. But I was, anyway, good. From now on, though, there'll be a notice about your committee meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's going to be interesting material that you share. Wow, great. Well, good to see you all. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Being a kindergarten teacher, when I saw the castles made of gingerbread, and those were things that we did too, but we made them out of graham crackers. We cheated and just made the graham crackers. And also, I said, for a special gift for your home, we'll make a little snowball, and we'll hollow it out so that you can see a little scene in it. And so I went to the specialty shop and I bought little scenes of the birthday of Jesus that they could put in the and I only did this with one class, my smallest class of kindergartners that I had 8 in them. And so the next day I said, well, how, and it was terrible. I told John, I'm never doing that again, that you just cannot do those kinds of activities with 5-year-olds. You're much better with 8-year-olds. And so, but I asked them, how did your family love your present? And they all told how that had been received by each one, except one little boy didn't have anything to say. And I said, well, Eric, did you get home with yours? Didn't your family love yours? I thought you'd worked so hard on that. And he said, I never got home with it, I ate it. Which is a very 5-year-old thing.